Welcome to LOA Today. Walt Thiessen and Doctor of Thinkology, Alyx King here on this January the 1st, 2019. It's a Tuesday, and we are just starting off 2019. Thank you for joining us either on the live stream or on the recording. Carlos Spalskita has basically bugged out on us today. He forgot once again that we're doing this podcast. We're just teasing you, Carlos. But we'll miss him for today, but he'll be back next week. And he'll also be here Friday for the podcast with Linda Armstrong. So you get Alyx and I today, and Alyx has changed her hair once again in honor of 2019.
I'll always change my hair.
Always change your hair. Okay. Well, I thought it was in
hair.
honor of 2019. So what did you do for 2019? You didn't do anything for your hair for 2019. I'm so disappointed.
Nope. But I'm still in makeup from last night. Like, it doesn't come off.
It doesn't come off? Oh, no. That's like a horror story. Oh, I can't get the makeup off. Help. Well, you're in good spirits despite all that, so that's a good thing. Congratulations.
I am.
And I saw your dog was behind you a moment ago. I don't know what happened to him, but...
he went back upstairs.
Oh, okay. I was kind of expecting him to join the podcast or something, but maybe not.
I was too.
Yeah. Well, that's the way that goes. But anyway, this is a Q&A, and we're starting off the new year as a Q&A, but we're also looking at it as kind of a way to try out something new, because when the new year comes, you're supposed to do New Year's resolutions and change things up and, get things shaken. Well, Louis and I and also Shelley last night were talking about how we really don't do New Year's resolutions anymore because, we're deliberate creators, so we're creating resolutions all throughout the year. Like, this is what I'm trying to attract, and that's what I'm trying to attract, and so forth. So it didn't really seem to make much sense to talk about doing resolutions, but it did seem like a good time to try something new. So I was telling you before the podcast, Alyx, I was looking at Reddit, which you pointed out is always a dangerous thing to do, and you're right, it is a dangerous thing to do.
Dangerous, but hilarious.
But hilarious, yes, you're right. It's quite funny, some of it. And some of it just makes you shake your head and go, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
What? What are you talking about? Speak English!
Exactly.
But some of it's good. The only thing is, and you said it really nicely before we got started here, Reddit always wants to find the most negative, controversial thing it can, because that's how they get, the most popular stuff to the top of the list. And yeah, that makes sense.
Right.
But I'm thinking, why don't we just take some of those things and ask ourselves, okay, whatever it is they're talking about, what's the pivot? Abraham talks about the pivot, right? You pivot from what you don't like to what you do like. So what's the pivot side of each of these things? So I figure that gives us a nice way to get conversation going while we're waiting to see if there's anybody posting anything. Actually, I should get the screen up to see if anybody's posting anything, too, because if they post something and I don't see it, that doesn't really help a whole lot. So
Not a lot.
No, not really. No, so gotta get that up. But one of the first things I saw on Reddit, and I'm curious to see what your opinion is. I gave you a heads up about it before we got started here, but it says, if someone borrowed your body for a week, what quirks would you tell them about it so they are prepared? Which, I can see why that would be a positive or a popular kind of a question to ask. You get all kinds of interesting responses on that. But it's got that negative tinge to it. Like, it's the hint that, well, what are the things that are wrong with your body that you should warn them about in advance? And it kind of rubbed me the wrong way. It's one of the reasons why I thought to do this whole project in the first place with Reddit. So
right.
I would turn that around and say, well, if someone borrowed your body for a week, what benefits would you tell them about so they could take advantage of them? Because, hey, if you're going to borrow somebody's body for a week, you might as well get the best out of it, right? That's the way I look at it. So, like if somebody were to borrow your body for a week, Alyx, what's the big benefit that they should keep in mind? What's the great takeaway? This is what you want to really pay attention to when you're using my body for a week.
That people will always come to you for advice because you're very wise.
Ooh. Wow.
Yeah.
And here I thought it was going to be about the purple hair. I'm just blown away. That's an interesting one. Well, actually, we don't often think about wisdom being associated with the body, but you're right, because ultimately the human mind in the individual personality is very body-oriented. Without the body, the personality kind of stops being that same personality. It doesn't stop existing. It's just not that personality because of the body. That makes a lot of sense. So the wisdom, yeah. And, well, it's also, there's a lot of people who talk about the body having its own wisdom, too. So paying attention to the wisdom of the body, so to speak.
Yeah.
So is
like
that
when your knee starts to creak when a thunderstorm happens?
Right. Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah. So was that part of what you had in mind when you said that?
Yeah, we can include it. Sure.
Yeah, sure. I'll take that. Sign me
I'll
up.
own it.
I'll take 2. Absolutely. Well, that's funny. Okay. All right. I'll buy that. I was asking myself the same question. What would I, and the reason I'm looking over here is I'm trying to get the Facebook comments up so I can see them. But I asked myself the same question. What would I want to point out to somebody? And I think probably the obvious thing where my body is concerned is my height. I'm 6'8". And the one thing you want to take advantage of when you're 6'8" is you can see over everybody.
Oh.
Right?
So you're just looking at all the bald spots.
Well, you see all the bald spots. Yeah, if you really want to look for those, yeah. But I mean, it's like, you know, you're in the store and you're trying to find something. It's really easy to find things when you're tall. Because first of all, you can see over everybody else, so nothing's really getting in your line of sight, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And plus, you can see stuff on the high shelf that nobody else can see.
Yeah.
Right? But the only thing that's going to trip you up when you're tall is the stuff that's on the bottom shelf because it's way, way down. You know, but other than that,
and that's where all the cheap stuff is. That's where
right.
they put all the cheap stuff.
That's right. Yeah. So that would be my first piece of advice. Take advantage of the fact that you're in a tall body, and enjoy that fact.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So
learn some basketball skills. Get that going.
Well, not for me. You won't. Seriously, I have the only basketball skill I have is to click the clicker and watch the game. That's it. I'm serious. I was never a sports aficionado. I'm
the same.
I don't really have the eyesight for it anyway, but I never wanted to be the kind of person who would go into the gym and bulk up all the time, constantly pushing the metal, pushing the weights, so I could go out there and bang shoulders with other guys about the same weight in a game that is supposedly a non-contact sport. What? Never did understand.
Yeah.
I mean, basketball...
Non-contact, but causing concussions.
Oh, it's one of the fiercest non-contact sports in existence.
Yeah.
So, no, I'm not a basketball player. I can criticize it. I can explain it. I can say, well, I know why this team is going to win over that team. I can explain that kind of thing. But no, you don't want me anywhere near a basketball court. I can't shoot. I can't jump.
Okay, so I won't pick you for 2 on 2.
No, it's not going to work.
I wouldn't even pick me, so I understand.
It's funny though how people assume that because
they do.
Of your height.
All my life, they're like, "You're so tall and you're black. You should play basketball."
Yeah, like that way. What is it that about skin that makes you a better basketball player? Could you please explain that to me? I don't understand.
I have no idea. I grew up in a Jewish town. They just assume things.
Oh my goodness, that's funny, but it's true. I mean, my wife actually made me a T-shirt many years ago, shortly after we met, because she got a sense of what it's like. When speaking about being in a store, when we go shopping and we see all the reactions from people and so forth, and realize just how often I get questions and looks and stares and all that kind of thing. So she made up a T-shirt, and the T-shirt said, across the top, big letters, answers to your questions. Number 1, 6'8". Number 2, no, I don't play basketball. And number 3, it's raining.
How's the weather up there?
How's the weather up there? Yeah, I never heard that question before.
Yeah, I know, right? You're so original.
But I always say that looking at the plus side of it, the thing that I love is the reaction of the little kids, particularly in the grocery store.
Because you're a giant.
I'm a giant. Well, not only that, kids are innocently blunt. Mm-hmm. They just are. Yes. They're the first one to notice that the emperor has no clothes. And because of that, they just blurt it right out. So it's inevitably, and the look always looks like this. It's like this. Mommy, he's tall. And mommy's going, shh.
Oh, God.
But how could you not love that? That is so adorable when a kid does
it's
that.
adorable.
It is,
yeah.
But yeah,
Oh my God.
it's one of those things you just kind of either get used to it or you get pissed about it for the rest of your life. So I got used to it. And actually, I've gotten to the point where I have fun with it. So even your height, you can kind of turn around.
So do people ask you to reach the things off the top shelf?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've had that happen quite a few times. And I'm happy to help them. I'm happy to help them because I know what it's like when you can't get something. You know, you should be able to buy the thing. You're in a store, for goodness sake. And you can't get the thing off the shelf. I mean, I think it was Walmart who started that trend. What Walmart had in mind putting stuff on a shelf that was 6.5 feet off the ground, I don't know. But they did. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
I mean, you're tall, so you don't have quite as much problem that other people have. But you know what it's like for somebody who's really small. What are they supposed to do? Climb on a ladder? Yeah, I brought my ladder to the Walmart. Yeah. What do you brought the ladder for? Well, I got to get to the top shelf. Come on.
Yeah. That reminds me of a show that I'm obsessed with. It's a reality show about little people.
Oh, which one?
It's called Little Women. Little Women.
Little Women, okay. Because there are a few of those shows now.
And there's like 3 franchises. I think there's one in Dallas, one in Atlanta, and one in... Ooh, I forget where the third one is, but... Oh, New York was the other one, but that one got canceled.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm like obsessed with like how they live their lives and like why they have to carry stepladders everywhere and like it's just so interesting. I just love watching it.
Louise is a big fan of The Little Couple. The ones with the 2 kids.
See, I never got into The Little Couple. I'm not a TLC type of chick.
Well, that's her one because she loves the little kids because they adopted a little Chinese boy and an Indian girl. And I have to admit, they are adorable. They are adorable.
They
kids.
are adorable.
Yes. And so that's she records and replays all of their episodes.
Yep.
I mean, currently, I think the episode that they recorded taking Will back to China so he could, see the country where he was born.
Aww.
I think that episode's been played 4 times in the last week.
Wow.
Yeah. It's gotten some airplay.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's her favorite one.
Keeping track of the ratings.
Oh,
is
yes.
basically what she's doing.
Well, I guess. Well, she's contributing to the ratings. Let's put it that way.
Right. That's what I meant.
Yeah, she's enjoying it. But the reality TV shows about people who have the what do they call it? They don't call it dwarfism. They call it there's a medical name for it. I can't think what it's called.
No, I think it is dwarfism.
Is it dwarfism?
I think it is.
Oh, it is. Okay. So people have dwarfism. There are quite a few shows these days that feature them. There's one about what's it called? Seven Little Johnsons. Is that what it's called? Something like that.
I don't know. Never heard of that one.
I've never watched it, but I've seen it advertised when she's watching The Little Couple.
Yeah.
And then the one you just talked about. So that's 3. That's pretty big right there to have 3 different shows on the same topic like that. Mm-hmm. I think they call it piggybacking, don't they?
I think so.
They find one thing that works and then, okay, let's piggyback on that. Let's do one just like it.
Exactly.
We can steal market share away, right?
Exactly.
Except we'll do it in 3 cities.
Exactly. Well, I think they were trying to copy or piggyback off of like the Housewife franchise.
Oh, yes.
So like how the Housewives, there's like one in every state. So I think that's what they were trying to go for.
Yes. Welcome once again to Housewives of Are We Driving You Crazy Yet? That's what this is from.
I'm not going to lie. Atlanta is my favorite.
It really is?
It really is.
How can you tell them apart? I mean, to me, they're all...
Well, I don't watch any of the other ones. That's how I can tell them apart.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, that would make sense.
Although I used to watch New Jersey, but then it got too ghetto. I couldn't take it. We were flipping tables. I was like, I gotta go. I can't.
It's like the old adage. I mean, if you light your hair on fire and stand on your head, you'll draw a crowd every time, and that's what they do.
Yeah, basically.
That's what it amounts to. So,
yeah,
I kind of like the new thing we're doing now of trying to flip everything around. We may not be able to stop them from lighting their hair on fire, and I really wouldn't want to try anyway. But maybe we kind of redirect the attention away, So
yeah,
let's see what else we got here. I'm going over onto the Reddit site because I don't see. Well, Nasha is posting up a storm. So hi, Nasha. I want to make sure I recognize.
Hi, Nasha.
I don't really see any other questions on there. Let's see. well, there was a really cute one. It was a little short video of a cat, and it was labeled, he thinks that we're playing hide and seek. And the video plays, and this cat walks across what I presume is a shelf over to one of these dividers that get used on a desk for like dividing folders and so forth, and crawls into one of the divider spaces with his back facing out.
If I sit.
That's it. Yeah. So it's like he's trying to hide in the divider. That was cute, I have to admit.
Yeah.
I don't know of a way to turn it more positive than it was because it was already positive, but it doesn't need to. So.
Yeah, I was up the other night for 3 hours watching dog videos on Facebook.
Really?
Yeah. They're just so cute.
Like funny ones? Oh, cute ones. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Cute
yeah, that's
ones,
good.
funny ones.
That's actually a good kind of thing to do because, I mean, more and more people, I think, are beginning to realize that the kinds of entertainment that you get from the major entertainment conglomerates is not going to be uplifting. So they start finding their own uplifting kind. And that's one of the great things that social media has done is it's provided a way for people to share things like cute animal videos and funny videos and stuff like that. Stuff that is quite alternative to what the mainstream media want to show us, but I think in many cases it's quite superior. So good for you for finding that.
I agree.
Because it's a good way to help lift your mood. I mean, we talk about this being your daily dose of happy, and we say that because the main purpose of getting into the happy zone is that's where we do our best attracting. Why not use a YouTube video or a Facebook video to do that? I think it's a great idea.
Yep.
Yeah. So, let's see. Okay. What else do we have here? 150 Years of Anger. Definitely a bad title. I agree with that. So I'm just going to skip that one. How about 150 Years of Joy? Now, I agree.
That's a long time.
Now, that would actually be a relatively short movie.
True.
I mean, you could actually do that one in 2 hours, probably. But But,
God.
150
Or
years
it could be like a twist on the title, like The Pursuit of Happiness, because there was nothing happy about that movie until the end.
I'll take your word for it. I never saw the movie, but it makes sense. I've never seen it, no.
You never saw The Pursuit of... You have to see The Pursuit of Happiness.
Why would I want to see a movie that is so miserable?
Because it's... The way that it all comes together at the end is like... It's just... It's your type of movie, I'm telling you.
It's my type of movie?
It's your type of movie. You're going to enjoy yourself. And it stars Will Smith. It's a true story. It's a great movie.
Is that the one with him being the father and the kid and he's like trying to be a stockbroker or something like that?
Yeah, and he's homeless for a while.
It's that one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yes, I did see part of that movie. I saw part of it on cable. Yes. Okay. Yeah, that looked pretty good, I have to say. I didn't see the whole thing, but yes. Yeah. That's kind of uplifting. He's ultimately trying to create a life for himself and his son, which is great. You know?
Yep.
I think it's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see, what else we got here? I'm not seeing as many good ones as I saw earlier. The ones I'm seeing right now are really kind of stuff I don't even want to name. I don't even want to read them on the air. Or just well, here's this one's pretty negative, but I'll read it anyway, just because I want to point out how it really points and focuses at the wrong stuff. Okay, it says removing fluoride from the water in Juneau, Alaska, 12 years ago led to a significant increase in dental cavities, according to an analysis of Medicaid dental claims. That's kind of a downer headline, you know. Yeah,
a little bit.
And sure, there is a connection. Everybody knows that fluoride does harden teeth, so, I mean, I can see the connection there. But wouldn't it be better to have a headline that says something along the lines of, you know, adding fluoride help people? Or...
Yeah, but that's not clickbait.
That's true, but what do I care about whether it's clickbait?
Because if you're Reddit, you want people to click
But I'm not Reddit. I'm just taking advantage of Reddit to turn things around. I don't want to be Reddit.
No, I know. I'm just saying that's why they named the headline they named it.
Oh, all right. Okay, yeah. All right. Yeah. Well, I'll give you a point for that. That's good. I guess what I was asking,
that's
why would you want
that to? That I would say that I would warn the other person if I switch bodies.
Oh, what's that?
I would say that I'm always right.
Okay.
Yeah. When in doubt, I'm always right. Go with your intuition.
Well, that actually matches up with what Abraham says. Because Abraham says you can't get it wrong and you'll never get it done. Right? Which I like. I even like to make that one more positive. I turn it around and say you always get it right along the lines of what you're saying. And the road goes on forever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I like saying it that way. But it's basically the same thing as what you said.
Yeah.
You're always right.
I am.
And it's true. It's something, it's basically a reminder of how are we going to look at stuff. Because our typical tendency is something doesn't work out the way we want it to work out. So we say, well, it went wrong. And then we start getting frustrated about the fact that it went wrong. And then we're focusing on it. And then we're telling our friends about how it went wrong. And then we're telling our mom about how it went wrong. And then we're repeating it to the friends about how it went wrong. And then we just start wondering why we fall into a negative vortex.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So
very true.
You start with the perspective that everything you're doing is perfectly appropriate for you and for what you're doing in your life. That pretty much eliminates that negative vortex. It's gone at that point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, facts.
Yeah. So I like that. So you're always right.
Yep. It's a lesson people learn very quickly.
About you or in general?
About me.
About you. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you just slip on the body and it's like, oh, yeah, I'm always right. Hey, this is easy.
It's like, just so you know.
Just so you know.
It comes, it's a blessing and a curse.
Why is it a curse?
Because your friends come to you with advice and sometimes you have to give them the not so good news. And you're usually right about the not so good news.
Okay. I'll think about that one for a bit.
Like if one of my friends was coming to me and saying, I think my boyfriend's cheating on me, and they're listing the things that are making them feel this way, and I'm like, yeah, probably.
Oh, I see. And that you see that as somebody seeing that as a negative? Is that what you're saying? Because I don't see that as a negative.
Well, in the long run, it becomes positive, but in the moment, it's like you don't want to be right about something bad. But at the end of the day, people are like, you know what, you were right, and I'm grateful you were there for me.
See, I guess I just don't think about that as being right or wrong. Maybe there's something wrong with me, but I mean, literally, I don't see that as being a right or wrong issue. I see that as being, identifying this is what's going on.
Yeah.
So is it wrong to identify what's going on? I mean, it's not.
No, I don't say it's wrong. If it was wrong, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah. So I don't think right really applies to it.
I always tell the truth. So whether you want to hear it or not, that's that's how it is.
Okay. So your name really is Alyx then?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, okay. It's Alyx. It's Alyx in the shortened version. But it's actually Alexandria.
Oh, okay.
My name was too long. My name was too long when I was a kid to write on paper, so I just shortened it to Alyx.
That's a long name. That's quite understandable.
And especially when you have like the Scantron sheets, like I couldn't finish my name.
Yeah, right.
So it would be Alexander on all my like standardized tests.
Okay.
And I was like, okay.
Yeah, I can understand. Now, did you put the Y in, or is that the way your name was originally spelled, Alexander?
Originally, it's spelled Alixandrea.
Okay. So
and then when you shorten it, it's with a Y.
Was that a choice that you made to put the Y in?
Yep.
It was.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that really does mark you as an individual then, because I don't think I'd ever seen that. Alyx.
Nope.
Yeah. So very good. Okay, you made it your own.
Very easy to find me on Facebook.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's very true. And I appreciate that when I'm typing in the co-host name because you pop right to the top of the list. It's really simple.
Because I'm always on top.
There
man.
it is.
That's how
there
I live.
So let's see. Do we have any questions? Nobody's... Oh, well, actually, Nasha has a comment. She says, but Alyx, the truth saves them from a lot of negativity in the future.
Facts. That's why I don't mind doing it. Because they need to hear it. Because obviously their other friends aren't telling them the truth.
Now, do you
that's harming them in the long run.
Now, Nashi and I were having a conversation about this earlier. Do you volunteer the truth if they're not asking for it?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Cause I was in a hard situation where a friend asked me a question, but I mean, up until this point, we were just talking about it. She was just venting. So I was just listening to her and I didn't agree with what she was saying. Mm. And then she finally asked me, well, what do you think? And I was like,
So she did ask you. To be
honest, she did ask me eventually, but I was hoping that day would never come.
Oh. Okay.
But being the good advice girl, it comes with the territory.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. I think what we were talking about earlier, Nasha and I, when we were chatting online was, what if someone is, in your case, you described somebody who was venting. Okay, so they're venting, but they're not actually asking you for advice. They're not asking you for something. If that's me... Oh,
yeah, no, I say something.
If that's me and they're not actually asking me a question or asking me for advice, I just walk away. I don't want to hear the venting. There's no value in it for me, and if they're not going to actually ask my opinion of it, what am I there for? So I just get out of there.
Oh, see, I love the drama, so I live for it, which is why I watch reality TV.
Got it. Okay. Well, that puts you in tune with the vast majority of the population for sure, because the population loves drama. And I don't think it's just in this country. I think it's true in every country around the world.
But I don't like it in my own life. I like to be drama adjacent, but not like drama central.
Well, yeah. I think it's also true for a lot of, well, I can't say that across the board. Let's just say it's true for many people. They like watching the drama, but they don't want to be in the drama.
Yes, exactly.
Kind of similar to the motivation that some actors and actresses have. They don't want to be bad people, but they like playing bad people. Because if you play a bad person, you can do all the things that a bad person does, but there aren't any actual negative consequences for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So kind of the same thing as that.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. I've often wondered why it was that I was never really drawn to drama like most people are. And I think we're starting to touch on why that is, because I don't really like drama. I mean, sometimes I do. Sometimes I do.
You don't like the shock and awe?
Not really, no. It's more along the lines of, where do I think it's going? Mm-hmm. I mean, to draw on one of the classics, Star Wars. When Star Wars first came out, you could sense where it was going. You could sense Luke growing into, this world-class Jedi. And I wanted to see that. I wanted to see him do that. Most people were jazzed by what's going to happen with the Empire, when the Empire strikes back and all that. And I could care less about that.
Wow.
Really, I didn't care about that at all. That was like, oh yeah, I guess that's part of the story of how Luke becomes a Jedi. But it was only incidental as far as I was concerned. But for everybody else, for most people anyway, that's the part it's the more popular of the three movies. The Empire Strikes Back. That's the most popular one. Mm-hmm. And like when I heard that, I said, "Really?" So, to each his own. I think that's one of the reasons why I end up doing a podcast about your daily dose of happy. I just feel like there's been a lack of focusing on what feels good. There's been so much emphasis on all the negativity and the drama kings and drama queens, and the more dramatic you are, the more attention you get. And basically, I'm in the background going,
i.e. the internet, the entire internet.
Yes. So anyway, let's see. Nasha's been posting some stuff. I gotta make sure we get this in here. She says, need a bigger screen here. She says she's not a fan of drama, and she says, no, they vent, but they act as if they were only asking for advice, and you give them 100 advices, but then, again, they come back to their own venting.
Complaining about the same problem I already told you how to solve.
Yeah. So what do you do in that case? If they ask you for advice, you give the advice, and they go right on with the venting, what do you do?
I give them 3 chances. After the third chance, I'm like, 3 is my magic number when it comes to stuff like this. So I give them 3 chances. After the third chance, I'm like, listen, you can't complain to me anymore. Because if you're, for instance, if again, cheating boyfriend, if you're going to stay with him, then I don't want to hear it.
Very good.
I just don't care.
Well, it's nice to know there are limits to the drama you like to watch. That's good. That's very good.
Yeah.
Yeah. In other words, do something about it or move on. I can't put up with it for very long.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. I can appreciate that because notice that in the Star Wars trilogy, I like the idea of following Luke as he became a Jedi. It's about that person's growth. I love watching that person's growth. And to me, what you're describing
you're all about the origin story.
Am I?
Yeah.
What do you mean by the origin story?
Like how things became what they are now.
I guess.
Like you're more interested in like people as people or and why they think the way they think and how they were raised and stuff like that. Yeah.
To a lesser extent how they were raised. I mean, yes, that's part of it. In order to understand how a person got to where they are, you have to know that part. Right. But I think you were more on the right track when you said I want to know where they're going.
Yeah.
I'm much more interested in where they're, from this point onward than I am from this point backward. Because this point backward is that's history.
Yeah.
And I mean, history's okay, but it's not what makes me sit up and take notice. And I've read a lot of history and I've studied a lot of history.
History bores me.
Yeah, well, that's just it. I mean, history is what happened then. What's happening is happening right now.
Yep.
So if I'm spending all my time focusing on then, I can't focus on what's going on now.
True.
So to me, it's an easy choice. I want to focus on now, and then I want to see where it's going.
Yeah.
That means I continue to focus on now every step of the way while we're finding out where it's going.
Yep.
And when I see that with somebody who's going through growth, that's really interesting to me. Because if I can understand how they're doing their growth, maybe I can apply it in my life.
I like it.
I mean, that's why I like the idea of Luke becoming a Jedi. I wanted to see how you do it. May the Force be with you. Okay, show me how. Seriously, that's what I wanted to know. I wanted to know how to use the Force. When I saw Star Wars, I didn't want to use it to go fight somebody. I just wanted to be able. Would it be cool to be able to do some of those things? I
felt the same way about Harry Potter.
Yeah. Oh, sure. Harry Potter, same kind of thing. I agree.
Yeah.
I became a Harry Potter fan after seeing the first movie. I didn't even really pay much attention to it when the first few books came out. I knew that it was a big phenomenon.
Me neither. Yeah.
But I
read the books after I saw the first movie.
Me too.
And then continued to watch the movies.
Exactly. Yeah. And it was because
I
wanted to see how these characters developed. I wanted to see how Harry grew up, how Ron grew up, how Hermione grew up, and all their friends, and what was it like when as they were growing up, going to a wizarding school, and they're learning how to do spells and all that kind of stuff. That, to me, was the fun part. To everybody else, it was, what's going to happen in the big battle with Voldemort? Well, okay, that was all right, too, but that's not what I was watching for.
Now, so for me, it was the backstories that we didn't know about. That's what I like, the drama, the shock and awe. So, like, when we found out that Snape knew Harry's mother.
That was cool. I did like that.
I was like, oh, what?
And that's where everything started to fit. Everything clicked. Like, all the loose pieces came together. Like, oh, of course, that would explain everything. Yeah.
Yep.
And it did. It was good. Yeah.
Yeah, J.K. Rowling, she knows how to do it, man.
She's a good storyteller. She very much is. I'm kind of looking forward to seeing the sequel movie, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. The latest one is about Grindelwald. I can't remember what the name of it is, but it's Fantastic Beasts 2. That's what I call it. But I'm looking forward to seeing that one.
I think it is Fantastic Beasts 2.
Is that what they're calling it?
Because I've already seen it. Yeah.
Now, I've heard some different reviews about that one. Some people panning it saying, oh, it's really not very good at all. All they're doing is rehashing the first one.
It wasn't as good as the first one, but it, like, lays the groundwork for the next one. Because there's so much that goes back in history. And it's like, oh, really? Okay.
And
I don't want to spoil anything, so I won't say anything, but still.
Oh, good. We don't have to put out a spoiler alert. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's good,
that's my show.
well, I would think also they have to some degree, they have to tie into some of the early history that was told in the Potter series. Because some of that was covered in the Potter series.
They do.
And I have to assume that somewhere in there you end up with the duel between Grindelwald and Dumbledore. Because Dumbledore defeated Grindelwald. We know that. So that's got to play into this story somewhere, I would think.
Well, I think that's upcoming in the third movie because that's what they laid the groundwork for, or why the battle is happening.
Mm-hmm. And do they make any reference to the fact that Grindelwald has the unbeatable wand?
I don't think he has it yet.
Yeah, he does.
Does he?
Yeah, because in Harry Potter's series, we learned that he stole it from... Who did he steal it from? He stole it as a young kid. Remember, he's leaping out of the window as like a teenager, and he's grabbed the wand.
No, I don't remember that.
I can't remember who he stole it from. I think he stole it from a Russian wand maker.
Okay.
But... Yeah, and that
if you're going to steal a wand, that's the one to steal.
Yeah, well, that's what Voldemort thought. It didn't really actually work out for him very well. But
didn't work out for him, no.
And since we're talking about Harry Potter, I want to share with you the one thing that really stuck with me more than anything else. And you're going to say, what? Mm-hmm. That's the one thing that stuck with you? Really? No. It was that Harry was actually the possessor of all three of the Deathly Hallows, but not all three at once. Not all three at once.
Yes.
He came like within minutes of having all three of them.
Yeah.
Right? But moments after
that was great.
Moments after he dropped the remembrance stone, he gets the wand.
And then I'm like, he's so easy breezy about everything. He's like, oh, it's just, these are just, relics. I'm just going to leave them in the woods. It's fine.
It makes sense, though. I mean, you talk about being a person who likes to know the history of events and people and so forth. His history is what makes sense out of that. Because for him, the most important thing in life is having parents who love you. Because he didn't have parents. The remembrance stone was the closest he had to having an opportunity to actually talk to his mom and dad. And he could tell, he was smart enough to realize even that is ephemeral. It's not going to last very long because he just can't constantly spend his time just talking to a bunch of spirits like that. So he has to go on with life. It gave him a very...
That he was going to his death, so he wasn't too concerned about dropping a stone in the woods.
Well, that's the other interesting thing about that. I wonder, to what degree did he know that he wasn't going to be killed?
I don't think he knew. He was prepared to die.
Rowling makes it clear he was prepared to die.
Yeah.
But I'm not 100% sure that he really actually believed that. And the reason I don't really believe that... You think
that's what made him braver?
Partly that. Partly, it's not like he was... It wasn't a big shock to him when he found out that he had a piece of Voldemort's soul in his mind.
Right.
It wasn't a big surprise. It made sense to him.
Because it explained everything.
And it reinforced for him what he had feared all along, or thought. I don't think he even feared it. What he thought all along was that he was going to have to face Voldemort, and that Voldemort was going to kill him. He thought Voldemort was going to be stronger.
Yeah.
So I think he was kind of already, ready for that, so to speak. Mm-hmm. So going to die, I don't think that was a big part of his thinking. She did emphasize that he was thinking that, but I'm not so sure it really was a big part of his thought process. And I think he, on some level, he raised the questions pretty carefully when he was talking to Dumbledore afterward in his head. Mm-hmm. He raised the questions about, what happened to Voldemort, what happened to the soul and so forth. And he had it all. It was pretty clear he'd been thinking this stuff through. It wasn't all new to him at that point.
Right.
And then he asked the best question of the entire 7-book series when he asked, Professor, is this all really happening, or is this just happening in my head?
Oh, yes.
And Dumbledore says, well, Harry, of course it's happening in your head, but why on earth should that mean that it isn't real? And I love that. That was like the best piece of philosophy to come out of the entire series. Yes, I love that one. Oh, I read that one, and I hadn't even read the final scene yet, and I was like whooping. I was so excited. I said, yes, that is so great.
Yeah, Dumbledore's deep, man. He's been around for a long time.
No kidding, yeah. So, let's see. Oh, Nasha's sharing some of her... Nasha is going nuts here. I mean, seriously, she is just pumping it out here. She was going back to what we were talking about earlier about people who don't really take the advice. She says, such people can be energy vampires. The ones who ask for advice, but then they just vent out.
Yeah.
She's got that nailed. Absolutely.
Yeah, they're just negative Nancys. They just like to complain.
And she has a question for you that came out of the conversation that she and I had earlier. She says, this is a question directed to you, Alyx. What do you think is the meaning of the word ego to you?
Ooh. I feel like it has a negative connotation to it, but I feel like that's like your essence. Like that's like who you are, but it doesn't have to be a bad thing. It's only a bad thing if you make it a bad thing. Like, if you're egotistical, you know what I mean?
Okay. That when we were talking about it, she asked me a question about ego, and my response was, you can ask 10 different people what they mean by the word ego, and you'll get 10 different definitions.
Very true.
Which means that the word is a very, very slippery word. So I'm
it's
always
versatile.
Very versatile, yes. So whenever somebody asks me about ego or egotism or whatever, the first thing I want to know is, what do you mean by it? Well, how do you define the word ego so that I know what we're talking about? Because otherwise, you can be like this. Just not connecting at all.
Totally missing the train I'm trying to put on the track.
Exactly, yep. You're headed north and I'm headed west. Yeah, it doesn't work at all.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And the point that I was making with Nasha is, we were talking about the same topic about people who, you're trying to help, and are they really open to being helped and so forth, and she'd raised the question about the ego. And the way I look at it is, the ego is usually tied in with the concept of selfishness in some way. And she raised that point. Or pride. Yeah, pride can also be a way that it's tied in. And I think I very much like what Abraham Hicks has to say about selfishness, because they really emphasize just how valuable and good selfishness really is.
Yeah.
And the way I like to explain it is, they do a really nice soliloquy on how valuable it is to be selfish, and how everyone truly is selfish, and how it's really a good thing that everybody is selfish. And the way I like to explain it is, can you imagine if we had to go through life living for somebody else all the time?
Nope, couldn't do it.
That would be insane. And it'd be miserable. It would be absolutely miserable, especially considering the fact that you really can't make anybody else happy. So you're living your entire life trying to make somebody else happy, knowing perfectly well you can't do it. That's like the ultimate description of futility.
Yeah. So
I'm glad that we're selfish beings. I really am.
Yeah.
And the point that I also like to make about the word selfish, usually, this is the Abraham point, usually when people talk about somebody being selfish, what they really mean is that person is behaving in a way that I don't like. So I'm going to accuse them of being selfish. And on some level, it means I want them to behave in a different way because that will make me feel better. Right. But I'm not being selfish when I say that. Which is nonsense, of course. The
irony.
Yeah. Of course you're being selfish when you say that. You're saying, I want you to behave a certain way so that I feel better about it. That's selfish. I'm sorry, but it is.
It is.
So it's one of those things that when you look at it that way, you begin to realize selfishness it's really been given a bad rap. It actually deserves a better reputation than it has. And it also reminds us that the people who use the word selfish or egotistical or whatever as a weapon are using it as a weapon. Yes. That's the key point. It's not how the other person who's behaving, it's not their behavior that is really of interest. It's the person who's making the accusation. Their behavior is what's of interest.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because the moment you're trying to use a concept like that as a weapon is the moment you become an aggressor. And that's not so good. Not so good.
Nope.
So, let's see. Nasha says, well, I've been doing that for years. I don't think she means being aggressor. I think she means staying away from getting caught up into the trap of you're selfish. You're so selfish.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that is a trap. There's no doubt about it. I don't see any other questions there, though, so let's see what else Reddit has to tell us that we can turn into something positive.
Okay.
Okay, now here's one.
This
is a little bit of a challenge. I'm going to see if you can turn this into a positive, but I think you can do it. Okay.
Okay.
This is a headline from the Daily Beast. It says, hackers threaten to dump insurance files related to 9/11 attacks. That's pretty negative.
Pretty negative, but I feel like, okay, so we're getting more information about 9/11. This could be good.
Okay. That's a good way to start.
But then again, I'm bored with history, so what do I need to know?
I like that. That's actually a good response. Like, I'm done with that. No, that's in the past. I'm done. We can
Not
leave
that it
behind.
wasn't very important and pivotal in our history.
It certainly was. Yeah.
Yeah. It was what it was. Moving on.
I mean, that's a great reaction. I like that a lot. I mean, when I look at that, hackers threatened to dump insurance files related to 9/11 attacks. What is it they think they're going to gain out of that?
That's like when they started hacking Clinton's emails. Like, well, what was the point? Just to prove that she doesn't know how to use an email?
I mean, there are a lot of people who don't know it isn't even how to use an email. She doesn't know how to set up an email server. And I actually do know how to set up an email server. And I can tell you for a fact that most people who try to set up email servers do not know how to set up email servers. They don't know how to secure them. They don't know how to make them work properly. They certainly don't know how to protect everything. But doesn't she have people for that? There are people who are professional IT people who don't know how to do that.
Wow.
I'm serious. I'm quite serious. Or if they do know how to do it, they can't be bothered to take the time to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yikes.
Okay. Well, so that's what did all that accomplish? Well, it showed that there are people who are in the IT field who just can't be bothered to do the job correctly. So what? Nothing new here. That's been going on for a long time.
No new news.
So hackers threatened to dump insurance files related to 9/11 attacks. So insurance files. By dump, I guess they mean publicly dump them, make them publicly available.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't really want to read the article to find out whose insurance files are, but it sounds like the hackers are trying to embarrass somebody.
Yeah.
That's where it sounds like it's going.
Some CEO somewhere is in trouble.
So here's the question that I raise. Why do I care?
That's what I'm saying.
Why do I care? Why is that? Why is this important?
It's not.
Because it has the word 9/11 in it? That's why this is important?
Exactly.
Well, I got a better idea. Why don't I read the next Reddit article instead? Because, I mean, that one's just pointless.
Yeah. Let's just skip right over it.
We'll skip that one. Okay, well, here's another one. We are not robots, says the quote. Amazon warehouse employees push to unionize.
As they should, because I know they have a warehouse in my hometown, and people complain all the time about how they treat them there. Like, they try to they only hire seasonal workers so they don't have to pay them, dental and whatever else. Some sort of medical they do get, but like they like to go through the loopholes. So yeah, they should unionize.
See, I'd like to rewrite the entire headline, and instead of the current headline, excuse me, the current headline says, "We are not robots. Amazon warehouse employees push to unionize." I want to rewrite the headline to say, Amazon warehouse employees don't care about whether they're robots or not. They start visualizing on the job they want instead.
I like it.
Let's take all the angst out of it. Just put it right on all that is focused on where we don't want to be. We don't want to be working for a company that treats us badly and treats us like robots. So therefore, we're going to put all this energy into unionizing to complain about the fact that we're being treated like robots, in the hope that if we do that, we will somehow not be treated like robots. Why not just trying to attract a job we like?
Yeah.
Just cut through the swath. Make it real simple. Because otherwise, you're just going to keep attracting more opportunities to get pissed off about a fact that a company is treating you like a robot.
But not everybody's on our level of vibration, though, Walt.
Well, that's why we're doing the show.
Facts.
That's why we're reading this stuff. We're turning the headlines around to tell people, hey, you're looking at it all wrong. Here's the way to look at it to your advantage.
Mm-hmm.
I love this next one. This next one's very good. Gas station employee. This is like an LOA headline. Gas station employee goes up to boss and asks for a vacation, and she playfully tells him, "I don't think so, honey." He goes on to show her his $258.5 million Powerball ticket.
Oh, no. I love it. That's fantastic.
I do think there was probably a little bit of angst on his part going on there. Like, he wanted to stick it to her, but...
Oh, definitely.
But putting that part aside, I mean... that's pretty cool to have won a $258.5 million Powerball. I mean, I'd rather see the headline say, gas station employee explains how he won $258.5 million Powerball. And then hear his story about how he focused positively and got really excited about winning the lottery, and sure enough, he won it. That would be a much more interesting story.
Mm-hmm.
But, oh well. Hey, at least it wasn't a terrible headline.
If everyone shared their secrets about how to win the lottery, then everybody would be winning the lottery.
You know, that is an interesting question. Because mathematically, everybody can't win the lottery. So
that's true.
So here's the interesting question. Is it really worth our time to focus on trying to win the lottery? Not that it's a bad thing to do. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying that you shouldn't try to do it. I'm just wondering how much are we limiting ourselves by doing that?
Right.
Because we're basically
saying... Focus on putting yourself in a better position instead.
Attracting what you really want into your life.
Yeah.
I've really noticed this a lot in my own life lately. And that is all the different ways that I will put out a request. I want to have X happen. I want to attract X. And then I will try to be the doer to make it happen.
Yeah.
But that's not how the law of attraction works. And I've been among the many who does counsel people, don't just sit on your butt waiting for it to happen. Go out and do. Mm-hmm. But this is the thing that I've refined it down to. The doing isn't about making it happen. The doing is about going out to enjoy what you're doing. It's finding the enjoyment in what you do.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, because if you're spending all your time focusing on enjoying what you do, you've got yourself into that good feeling place. And then it doesn't really matter whether it comes as a Powerball ticket or, a massive pay raise or, getting an inheritance or whatever it is. It doesn't make any difference what it is. Mm-hmm. And more likely, whatever it is going to be tied to what it is that you're loving to do so much.
Yep.
So, for instance, you get these people who, they have YouTube channels where they have hundreds of thousands of listeners listening to them blurt out their stuff that they blurt out. And it could be on almost any topic. I've noticed lately a lot of people doing gaming videos. They'll take video of themselves playing a video game.
Playing the game,
and then they'll do commentary and so forth. And they have all these followers. I guess some of the followers are trying to pick up tips on how to be better game players.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
And some of them are just listening in because it's nothing negative. It's all positive stuff. So it's a way to escape from all the crap that they're dealing with on a daily basis. And some of them are just tuning in because they're friends of the guys who are doing the video. And, there's like a whole series of reasons for doing it. But the bottom line is these guys they have these huge followings and they're selling merchandise and just making their living by playing these video games. They're doing what they love. They don't worry about anything else. They just keep doing what they love, and they keep talking about what they love, and they share with their friends about what it is that they're talking about that they love. And the more that they do that, it turns into an income for them. Mm-hmm. And I'd be willing to bet that the first time that they started videotaping themselves playing the game, they weren't doing it because, oh, wow, I'm going to make so much money doing that.
Unfortunately, that's what the stigma is now. They're I could be a YouTube star.
That's what it is now.
But in the beginning,
that's not the way it started. No.
Right.
When it started, it was like, hey, I want to show everybody else, what I've learned to do playing the video game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, look what I learned to do. I figured this out. Exactly. I became really good at doing this. I want to show you what I did. Mm-hmm. And that's the right motivation, I think. That's the one. When you get that motivate, that's what motivates us to do the podcast. We do it because it's fun.
Yes. Yes, it is fun.
And it's going to be even more fun as time goes on, where it actually does turn into an income. But in the meantime, it's still fun. It's still enjoyable,
Yeah, exactly.
And the more that we focus on that, it may not even be that the income comes through doing the podcast. Mm-hmm. Income could come a lot of different ways. The key for us is not trying to be the doers to make it come a certain way. I mean, you mentioned it just a minute ago, how people see the gamers who are, playing their video games in front of hundreds of thousands, and they want to replicate that because they want the money. And 99.9% of the time, they won't get there.
No, they won't.
Because they're chasing the wrong thing.
Yeah,
they're chasing the money. What they should be doing is chasing the joy.
Yes. I like that.
Yeah. So, chase the joy.
Chase the joy.
Yeah. We ought to turn that into we should make that a t-shirt. Chase the joy.
Yeah, we should.
Isn't that a good one?
An LOA t-shirt.
Yeah.
Chase the joy.
Well, Bill G, who was on a couple weeks ago, suggested that we should be doing merchandise. And I've been kind of toying with it.
We should be doing merch.
You think so? Okay.
Yep.
All right, well, I'm going to make a note then. That's going to be the first Well, I guess the first one has to be a T-shirt with the LOA Today logo, but that's the second one. Chase the Joy.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to write that one down. So let's make it a thing going forward. We'll anything that we think about that would go well on an LOA Today T-shirt, let me know and I'll write it on the list. Okay.
Oh, I'm famous for that, and I'm like, oh, that should be a T-shirt.
Okay, all right. So there's the first one. Then I got to figure out where we're going to find the company to create the T-shirts and do the distribution because I don't want to have to do all that work. I want somebody else to do that.
You can do it online.
Well, I'm sure you can. I just got to find the right one. I mean, do you know a good one?
Yes, my friend uses it all the time, and he makes me all kinds of T-shirts. He made me a pillowcase with my dog on it for my birthday.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and her name was spelled out, and her picture was in her name. It's adorable.
That's great.
Yeah. I'll have to ask him and get back to you on that.
Okay.
Because I can't remember the name of the company. It's something clever, but I don't think it has anything to do with T-shirts, so you wouldn't know.
That
but
would
it's
fit.
It's a printing place, yeah.
Okay. Well, actually, now she's made another good point
like
here, too.
Vistaprint and stuff like that.
Yeah, I know you can do that. Yeah, Vistaprint definitely is one particular solution. But Vistaprint, I don't think actually does the processing and the merchandise or the warehousing and processing orders and all that. I want to have a soup to nuts solution.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't want to have to do any of that.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm glad to make some money off of it.
The place that I'm talking about has you'll have your own account and your own people.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. That's good.
All right, so I will talk to my B-fam and I will get the information.
Cool. All right, thank you. I appreciate that.
No problem.
Nasha also pointed out another good thing, and that is we were talking about how we do the podcast because we enjoy doing it. She pointed out that she likes listening to the podcast just because she enjoys listening to the podcast. So it actually is
sharing the joy.
It is sharing the joy. It really is, and chasing the joy too. But it points out that even though we have one enterprise here where you and I are doing this podcast, listeners can also be a part of that process just because they're listening and taking. And you do it as part of what you do for a living with chasing down the premieres of television shows. You love doing that.
I love it. I love to get a spoiler.
You practically live for that.
I do.
Right? I mean, that's what you've told me before, so.
I love to know information other people don't know and be the one to share it. I'm like, no, guess what's happening? And I don't know why I get joy in telling people that their shows are being canceled. I don't know why.
Well, that's just because you would be a flawed human being, except that you're right all the time. If it weren't for that, you'd be a flawed human being.
Yeah. Like my friend tells me all the time, he's like, if I wasn't conceited, I'd be perfect.
That's right, yes.
I'm like, oh my God.
Oh, that's funny. But yeah, that's why you do it. Do you do merchandising with your podcast regarding the TV shows?
Not yet, but it's definitely something I will definitely get into as it gets bigger.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I've definitely been giving it thought too. Well, okay, we'll have to continue that conversation another time because unfortunately we're out of time with this one. But what do you think? Did this experiment work? Are we doing a good thing here by doing these Reddit headlines?
I think so.
You think so? All right. Well, we'll keep trying it for a while. The nice thing is the headlines change every day. So, we'll see what goes and see if it works for a while. And maybe we'll even get to the point where people are asking questions again, then we can do that part too.
Yeah.
So, okay. Well, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for doing the show. I kind of missed Carlos, but it was good just doing it with you and me. That was good. And I like
our quality time.
We have good quality time. We do. We do. And since it is January 1st, once again, I want to wish you a happy new year and a successful and profitable and healthy and wonderful in every single way new year. And I hope all of your dreams come true this year.
Same to you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And same thing for our listeners, too. We hope all your dreams come true, and we hope that you'll join us next time here on LOA Today. Bye, everybody.